inside the booth extraordinarily early today, but
Well,
we're in Champion Select.
We're inside the Champion Select. Patch 8.2, guys. First time here, the OGN Stadium. Looking at the bans, of course, things change a little bit with the patch coming through, and you notice Alistair, very early ban against Ignar. After game 1, and his carry performance on Alistair was banned out from KSV in the remaining games. They don't want Ignar to be on a big playmaker. For now, they will ban away the Alistair.
Yep, we'll see what KT are going to target ban. Maybe they'll get rid of the Jarvan and something like that, really focus on Bono, get Blossom, a matchup in the jungle that he really wants. But Galio, of course, understandable ban. Ryze, I'm actually a little bit interested about as far as where his power level is now, just with the fact that Rune Prison does actually draw minion aggro now.
I don't think he has the big changes till next patch when he loses the ability to escape for free.
That's true, yeah.
With his, obviously with the Zonias and also with
Realm
the stopwatch,
yep.
But that is still here, so he's still going to be powerful. And 3 mid lane bans against Faker, who still has been having a good season. A couple of critical errors for him have kind of led to some criticism, but his laning phase has certainly still been very impressive. And I think Ryze on 8.2 will probably remain perma-banned. It was perma-banned yesterday. It is very, very strong. The Kassadin ban, very interesting.
Very interesting.
You think about champions good, that Kassadin's good into, it's always that smaller list, right? But it is things like Azir.
Yeah.
And also,
I think BBQ read it, right?
But it also forces a first pick Azir. That's kind of the quandary here, is you see that and you're like, oh, well, Taliyah and also Azir are champions you consider taking Kassadin into because it's good post-6. So they're going to give up the Azir, and we'll see what SKT want to react to, because there's still a lot of power available in the draft.
Yeah, and we've seen the Xayah Rakan really launch into prominence recently. Gangplank is going to be the first pickup here from SKT, and Bang was always a Xayah player of note, but it's not going to be that. It's going to be the Ezreal still. High priority for SKT here on 8.2, but it is Bang. He's always happy to get on, even though the win rate isn't quite there. But man, like, Jarvan and Azir, BBQ are setting themselves up to have a phenomenal team composition, and you add Kalista onto that? Good God.
It already looks like scaling from SKT. Fans will be happy to see more damage threats, though, given they have lost a lot of games where they've tried to run Gnar and just a solo threat. For example, the Ezreal or the Sivir. See if Faker's going to go with what is really trending here in Korea. On 8.2, I was watching challenges a couple of days ago, yesterday with Crown. They weren't able to pick up wins, but Taliyah priority is an all-time high. Kind of split the lane against Azir, farm lane and mid. So the return of Azir versus Taliyah, which may be very common on this patch. And now we're going to see some coverage bans for the Gangplank, because there's no draft for top lane yet by BBQ.
I actually really like what SKT have put together, though, because there's a lot of sort of area control they have with the Cannon Barrage, with the Weaver's Wall. A lot of opportunities here to get skirmishes working in their favor, and against BBQ, who don't necessarily want a skirmish, it looks like they're wanting to team fight pretty quickly. The composition like this.
If you're wondering about Blossom's champion pool, he is currently ranked 18 in Challenger, so a very mechanically talented player. Kha'Zix, Camille, Sejuani, and Evelynn. So a bit of the aggressive side, but also the requirement to play the Sejuani. So we will see some bans towards his champion pool. First ever competitive game, so no doubt there's going to be some stage fright, but a lot of extended hands, a lot of experienced hands. Faker, Bang, and Wolf there to potentially big him up. Rengar banned, also another big champion for Blossom in solo queue. Interesting to see where he goes, and they will be last picking for jungle, so giving him as much information, as much of a read as possible, and then letting him choose his champion. He's going to go for Ezreal Braum, a very capable bot lane, a bit of disengage for the Gangplank and Ezreal.
Yeah, also makes sense to prioritize. Picking up that Braum has certainly still been fantastic. See what Ignar wants to go with.
Teamfight Dream would be the Taric locked in here. It will have Jarvan and also the Taric himself for initiation.
Top lane opportunity could be the Gnar. We've seen Gangplanks navigate that lane better and better, but you have to feel that the team fight availability of having a Gnar on the top side for Crazy would certainly be a good one, and it's also by far his most played champion this season.
Camille also banned away. It does seem like SKT are happy for him to take the Gnar. It would be the tier list pick. If Crazy has any other ideas on how to bust down a Gangplank, has been playing some Fiora and Nasus in solo queue. Ooh. Both of which could be considered. The Nasus will be locked in. Okay, so taking actually Tal's champion. Tal was the one who debuted this idea of going scaling against scaling and running Nasus top into the Gangplank, and he'll actually turn it around. Well, Crazy going with what was working in solo queue. We'll see if we're convinced by our second Nasus top of the season. Yeah. Eventually, seems like Blossom's going to go very capable, go for a very balanced champion, go for the Jax, who can farm early, They'll scale up into Trinity Force second and can be an anti-carry in team fights. So interesting stuff here. A lot of zone control, as you pointed out. Issue with a comp like BBQs is if you ever fall behind on vision and the Weaver's Wall goes down, you can't really engage because some people get over walls, some don't. It gets very wonky if you have a very strong engage comp and the Weaver's Wall is there to really ruin your day. So there's a lot going on here for both teams. BBQ very powerful in the 5v5. Of course, Nasus can be kited, Nasus can also be held down. SKT have a more proactive draft than in previous times. It's exciting to see Faker on a champion that can roam, but also a champion that roams first and also has damage profiles. Not the Galio this time, it's the Talia. So we're seeing a bit of the new, patch 8.2. Will be hopes anew for SK Telecom, or will it be more of the same?
Well, we'll have to find out. Crazy could be in a lot of trouble on the top side of the map, though. You mentioned the roam ability of the Talia. There's also Counter-Strike with pretty high availability from Blossom. We actually saw it was Spirit yesterday do ridiculous things to Ajab in their match against Kongdu Monster. So could be really frightening in the early game, which is where SKT have needed to make the changes. And if Blossom's going to be able to add some early game power to this roster, that could be exactly the reinvigoration that we're looking for.
It's hype, Atlas. Anything can happen. It's a new dawn every time SKT hit the rift.
Exactly right. We'll see what's going to happen in game number 1. BBQ versus SK Telecom, T1. Oh man, SKT fans still holding on hope, especially here in the Soli Stadium.
A lot of banners for SKT.
So many.
The crowd's still filling up because we are still very early Korean Standard Time, people getting off school, work, etc. But the SKT T1 take my energy signs and the SKT win. They're definitely trying to lend their voice to this famous squad of players who've fallen on hard times so far in the spring season. 2017, not many hard times for SKT. They may not have won every competition. They definitely went far in all of them. So fans hoping it'll be a return to some of those previous fortunes.
Tempt also wanting to change his stars as far as the Azir pick is concerned. Still hasn't found a victory on that champion yet. It's actually interesting. The sort of top tier in Azir and Ryze, Tempt hasn't been able to find it on. Played a heck of a lot of the Malzahar otherwise. But Tempt has always been sort of that guy that's happy to sit on fringe meta champions. So see whether he can change things up here on the Azir.
A lot of unsealed spellbook still. No unsealed spellbook nerfs on patch 8.2, meaning that we'll still see the supports especially go for extra playmaking. I know I was enamored by Wolf, Wolf's champion, the Braum, that was played by Tucson, and he went mid and killed someone with a Glacial Fissure, so I'm hoping some more.
Them, did he, Papa
He did fissure them to death, so I'm looking for some teleport plays from the supports. Lethal Tempo for Ghost. Note the Bang, not going for Doran Blade as Ezreal. You actually start with a Doran Shield, so showing a lot of respect for any sort of early all-ins from the Calista Tarek lane.
Yeah. Crazy having a pretty good time just siphoning these minions down, doing the very best he can. Until I'm not going to be able to pressure out the Nasus too much, especially after a few points get into that queue. See where Blossom is going to go first. Already a couple of buffs, but just going for a pretty full clear. Oh, nice work staying out of vision there, Bono, but he's just going to chuck a ward down, not going to fight Blossom here at his Chickens camp.
You know what the most surreal thing about this matchup is that kind of hit me like a shower thought before we went live with this, is that this could have been the 4-time EU LCS winner in Trick versus Blank, of course a world champion on SKT in 2016, and instead we get two junglers with 3 games of competitive experience between them.
Yeah.
Insane how much veteran status on the bench when it comes to the jungle role, but both of them being preferred for valid reasons. The synergy between Tempt and Trick really has left a lot to be desired, and Tempt is one of the big stars here of BBQ, whereas Bono and Tempt showed a lot more synergy in the 3-game sample size, and Blank's struggles have been very well publicized, so both of them rolling the dice, but you are struck by just how much star power and experience on the bench for either team.
Yeah. Still completely untested. Blossom You can see actually starting to move in for an invade. Bono will be discovered, but just some vision being gathered by the Jacks. Wave a little bit too far forward. Blossom to really find anything for Faker here in the mid lane, but I don't think that... Oh, okay.
That's what happens when you queue onto the Blast Cone. You can do pretty amusing things. I remember Rengar queues. Causing Peanut and friends a lot of struggle. Blossom looking to maybe interrupt a recall, but he does have vision on Bono, so he does know there's no chance there's going to be a counter gank here, so I think it's time to start ganking.
Yeah, on Blossom, starting things off exactly right, as Ghost will have to flash most likely. He waits way too long, though, and he's just going to get taken down. First Blood so easily, and no F button pressed.
No time there for the counter gank. Because it was the gank time, and because Blossom got the drop onto Bono recalling, he knew that there was going to be no counter gank, and from there, like you say, flash wasn't used. A follow flash was likely, because Dazzle was on cooldown, used aggressively, no ability for them to turn it around, and there you go. First kill involvement will go to Blossom.
Great start for SKT. Definitely a brilliant debut for Blossom.
This lane's going to be boring.
It is going to be boring, Bob Smithy, yes. Although, you know, Susan's at least amusing.
The only thing that I could get hyped about is if Nasus saw the cull and bought a counter cull. For the, I'm really, really stacking up, guys.
Yeah. It's like we have, this is called the Truce lane.
Now, Crazy will get a lot of value out of his W as the game goes on, and having the ability to wither both, I mean, basically 3 members of SKT, get massive value. Jax was all about his passive attack speed, and Ezreal also. Gangplank, a decent target as well, so a lot of value there. See if the scaling phase can go long enough, because when we saw Tal try this, the game just kind of ended around the Nasus, which happens very commonly in both competitive play and solo queue.
Interesting that the Nasus is gone for after we move to potentially a faster patch as well. But both of these teams pretty happy to get that scaling happening, so I can understand exactly why BBQ are going to opt in for it. You can see Tal actually opting for Kleptomancy still on the Gangplank. I was thinking that maybe we'd get a few more Grasp the Undyings. That Keen actually brought out, played a little bit more of a Bruiser Gangplank before the 8.2 patch came in. So
the caveat with that one was it was against Vladimir, so needed to be respectful with both his item choice and his rune choice, whereas you're against a Nasus where both people are saying, oh, really? All right, you know what? Other people are saying that's a bit disrespectful, so it's smart to go extra scaling. That's why you see Klepto and Cull. They both know their role in the lane is to get away with champions that in most matchups are unplayable. You will see Nasus into Gangplank and probably nowhere else in competitive play. So really is all about scaling. So I think going for Klepto, even after the nerfs, is probably the right way to go for Gangplank.
Yeah. Not too bad at all. Bono still hasn't really got anything done so far. Second red will be taken now, but Blossom's getting around there, taking down some wards. Helped out with the first blood. Tracker's Knife on board.
A lot of bot side control. Mentioned this during yesterday's cast, but one of the common things with globals is that your jungler always wants to control the enemy red side jungle if you're on red side yourself, because it will allow for every time Faker leaves lane, the potential threat that he will use the weave as well aggressively bot side. So red side control is what Blossom and SKT want to establish. You can see already that BBQ have their control of the enemy red side as well, so they're definitely dividing up the map. But just when you have a global in mid lane, you get that extra bonus of the threat being so much more imminent that people have to pull back, as Blossom is no doubt sad about this.
Yeah, pretty upset that our Sentinel was about to kill him. But he's going to be fine. Moving down. What are you doing? Okay, he's just going to hop in and start the Infernal Drake. He's going to get pinged immediately, so he's going to move on out. Bono discovered by that ward, and Wave was certainly pushed way too far up.
He was going to recall anyway, so any information he could get by starting off the Drake wasn't a terrible idea. It's kind of Barrage used just to push the lane against Nasus, I'd imagine.
Yep. Crazy will be at it. Head back relatively soon. We'll have his teleport up just before Tal, so no worries at all.
We'll notice that on the respect side, Nasus is maxing E first, so going for the shove rather than purely for stacking. Going for Q-max, you know, the moment that a opponent sees you going for Q-max, then you might just end the laning phase with a teleport up and try to really punish the Nasus. So going E-max gives you more wave control options, so makes some degree of sense there. Nice Gauntlet Rush. Suggested, but could also be frozen hard in the Trinity Force.
Yeah, it's sort of, you'd normally expect something like that. Sorts out all of your cooldown reduction problems pretty instantly.
Much more passive game than was first indicated when both Bono and Blossom were in the game. Passivity might end here as Faker's bot side.
Yeah, Weaver's Wall comes in. Ignar will have to flash if he wants to get out of there, but no, he won't. There's a Fate's Call, so he's going to be absolutely fine. But Ghost finally finds the F button this time. Faker, successful gank on the bottom lane.
I mean, great roam timing now. Bono is playing with fire because his mid laner isn't in mid, and they don't control the bot side jungle, so this is smart aggression by Blossom.
Yeah, good 1-2 punch, but Flag and Drag gets Bono out of there. Going to clear things out, but you can see Tempter was making his way back from base, so no way that he could actually do anything. And it's a successful jungle invade, steal away, and a lot of control actually now picked up for SKT in multiple lanes. Like, Tal is absolutely fine just farming things out on the top side, but Faker's roaming. BBQ bottom lane is getting targeted.
So the usual way you play this if you're BBQ is that you punish around the top side. Diving Gangplank is a story as old as time. You're strong on the top side of the map. You don't want to fully give up bot side, but you know the Weaver's Wall is down. In the next 2 or 3 minutes, you're very unlikely to be super punished on the bot side. So making something win rather than trying to lose minimization on bot side is probably the percentage way to go in pro play, but end result is that Nasus and Gangplank are isolated. Nasus is getting good free farm, so you're still happy about that. But every time Bono face checks even his Raptor Brush against a Taliyah who was missing, the enemy jungler who he knows is going to be jungling bot side, it's more of a risk than is necessary for the side of BBQ.
Yeah, and I guess they're not too worried because, you know, they're happy to scale alongside SKT, and 1 kill is not going to be the end of the world. But you can see slowly but surely SKT with double Kleptomancy pulling ahead as far as gold is concerned on this map. Might be able to hit those item timings a little bit faster. You know, Bang will most likely go towards the Iceborne Gauntlet, but could potentially be triple Trinity Force this time around as well, giving SKT a pretty huge damage spike. But will be the takedown of the Dragon. Now the fight actually breaks out. Temp, decent Emperor's Divide, but only finds Blossom. Cosmic Radiance keeping everyone alive. Is going to be SKT able to take the objective. BBQ not able to capitalize at all.
But it's again an extension of the point I was making. BBQ could have been starting the Rift Herald at the same time with no threat on the top side. And they try to contest the Infernal, which sure has high value, but you haven't set up the bot side jungle, your red side, the river, any of the enemy blue side jungle with vision at all. It's very risky for them to walk up. They had no idea what health value the Drake was at. So they end up just giving away objectives and a teleport this time from Crazy. So they're trading down, and honestly, they're just giving things because they're not getting anything for the contest.
Yeah. Now SKT able to clear out vision up here towards the top side as well. Crazy with his shoving was able to keep relative control over that area of the map. Decent Scryer's Bloom will at least show BBQ what's going on, but at the moment SKT more than happy. Just keep playing this game out. Faker, after spending a bit more time in this lane as well, is able to even out CS, even move ahead of Tempt, who's gone for Summon Airy. Interesting. Often we do see the Comet as the first choice on the Azir.
Against a melee matchup, you'd understand it because the auto attacks will also apply it, but against a range matchup, I would have thought Comet.
Yeah.
You move around so much as Taliyah, trying to dodge workaround, and because you have the Q, that perhaps hitting the Comet is very difficult in the laning phase, but usually not really too much to split the two. You know, Comet was never nerfed, and there was that small nerf to Airy, but all in all, they're pretty similar. They have basically the same function.
Yeah, I'm not going to be too worried about it, but we'll see what Tempt is actually going to be able to get done as we move further into this game. That first Emperor's Divide left a little to be desired, but Blossom, he's getting the invade on. Will be able to leap strike his way over here and potentially threaten Crazy, but doesn't.
There's a lot of hype around Blossom as a player. Had the pleasure of talking to Froggen about Blossom, and he said was very impressed with him in play. Talking to Korean pros, there's definitely a lot about this guy. Very aggressive jungler, which when you transition into pro play, usually goes one of two ways. Still very young, only 18 years of age, so trying to work out his role. But so far impressed by his pathing and also his link with his team, because he's been in the right place at the right time, taking proactive objectives rather than just being a negative kind of coverage jungler that a lot of SKT junglers default to in the past. So far so good for Blossom.
Yeah, we'll see whether he's going to be able to stop Bono from taking this Rift Herald. But Tempt is going to come up and give him a hand. Nash's Tooth almost completed there. Just not quite. Blossom moves over. Not going to be able to threaten this, I do not believe.
I'm going to try and contest, at least as the ward down. We'll see how respectful he is. But he just gets confirmation that's where the time. He sees how many people invested and he backs away. So smart there from Blossom. Nothing they can do. That was where BBQ was strong, I'd say maybe a couple minutes too late on the start, but eventually they double down on where they're strong, which I think is always the right way, even in solo queue when you're a jungler. If your lane is 0-3, ganking that lane is probably just going to spill over and maybe affect your own KDA and also lose you more, rather than trying to win where you're strong, which seems to be the percentage play in basically every form of League of Legends.
Yep.
Extend the lead rather than trying to arrest a fire is usually what you'd recommend.
That also works in life, doesn't it? You know, winning more is better than losing less. It's just sort of how it works.
Glass half full, baby.
Yeah. Well, speaking of which, this is a much better feeling for SKT. Bang on one of his favorite champions. Able to get that first blood as well down towards the bottom side. Things couldn't be going better at the moment. Iceborne Gauntlet also complete. I have a lot of 2v2 power down here.
It's a very weird game to talk about scaling. It's kind of a dirty word here because you'd be tempted to look at Nasus
right?
and say it's unlimited. But Nasus gets kited so often in the late game. You know, when flashes are up, a lot of late game team fights occur when there's 5 flashes on the enemy team. So how much are you really getting out of Nasus showing up? The answer's usually not that much. He has gone for the Until Spellbook, so you could be Ghost Flash, I guess, if they're going for a true 5v5 phase. But it was like mid-game fights where you might see 2 fights, you know, in quick succession around an Infernal, then the Baron. Then you might get massive value out of the Nasus. But his reliability compared to Gangplank, who has a global and also the barrel link extending his effective range to 1,000 most of the time, is pretty questionable. So actually in the maximum value out of the scaling on Crazy is up and down. His top lane, we're seeing again.
Yeah, Weave as well is going to come in. They do spot that Bono is up there, and Teleport is coming in from Ignar as well. He's going to get knocked back pretty quickly, and the Dazzle does absolutely nothing. Bastion wasn't even set up on Crazy there to start that one off, but Ignar at least going to save his top laner.
And Tal was so surprised, I better flash. This is a bit too crazy for me. Rift Herald going down. Turret already had plenty of work on it. First turret of the game, going to go to BBQ.
Yeah, unless SKT can do something ridiculous down towards the bottom side. So yeah, not going to happen. But boink. That is going to be the turret going down. Oh, you know, they could have potentially picked up 3 BF swords.
He just didn't look at Brom's items, thought he might have like 4,000 HP and a Demolish Proc just continues the turret in 1 second.
Yeah, I missed that in the patch notes, you know. Brom's base AD has gone up 450.
Again, the glass isn't always half full.
I prefer it if it is, though. You're talking about item timings. Bang is feeling fantastic. Manamune just completed as well. As we got a gank towards the mid lane, Empress Divide immediately gets Blossom out of the way. It means that he's not going to be able to get back. All of the gap close was done and didn't want to flash.
Timing wasn't perfect from Tempt. He ended up getting stunned. If you channel the Emperor's Divide like half a second earlier, would have just knocked him away, but wasn't consequential. Seeing Bang & Wolf reinforce the mid lane.
Yeah, okay. True Shot Barrage just going to...
Well, the second Infernal is up, so this is where SKT is strongest. They just want to soften up Tempt, like you mentioned. Force him into a back, but it seems like the contest is on. This is risky from BBQ.
Yeah, Crazy's going to move down here. Tempt, no Emperor's Divide is the main thing, but they're taking a lot of damage from this Infernal Drake for the moment. Okay, will we see the Fate's Call is the question. Cannon Barrage comes in, but there's the ultimate from Ignar just to stop all of that damage from raining down. Tal turns up, Tempt just picked off for free. It's going to be Bono. He picks up the dragon, but has he lost too much? Faker diving forward. Fate's Call not going to be enough to save Ghost as SKT find a team fight in the early game and wipe the floor with BBQ.
Now 4-0 in terms of kill score. The Infernal did go the way of BBQ, but not worth it when they're going to lose a mid lane turret as well. This is the risk of playing against where the enemy is strongest in terms of vision. Tempt just got assassinated by a Gangplank, something you almost never see, but they had no advanced vision and opted into a fight with incomplete information. SKT get the maximum. They roll down the mid lane turret as well. Now the gold lead will start piling up for SK Telecom T1.
Yeah, 5,000 gold now the lead. Tal, he's going to go back and grab some items.
But just
Let's
consider how
again.
Tal walks through. He's actually on the one ward they have in the area. Tempt runs out of Cosmic Radiance. It was forced out earlier by the Cannon Barrage. Gets assassinated by a Gangplank. That's both a awareness issue and also the reality of fighting where you're weakest. Because Ignar was in the Fate's Call, it was actually just very easy for the threaded volley to take down Ghost. He dies as well. Both threats are down. Game ain't over, but SKT being more proactive, knowing where they're strong, minimizing where they're weakest, and that's already an improvement on some of the recent performances we've seen from SKT T1.
It does look like a reinvigorated SKT. You're exactly right, Papa Smithy. But what do they do now is the question. Keep shoving things forward. Get the vision down. You can see BBQ's actually being able to answer with a lot of vision of their own, protecting that bottom side of the map. Feels a little bit too little too late. That Dragon isn't going to be up for another 6 odd minutes.
Looking at the build from Crazy.
Yeah.
He's going very much for a push and control build. This is not about max damage. It's not about hitting your Q. It's largely about shoving with your E and the percentage resist that you shred, and also the Wither always being in range. So going for Warmog second here, and I imagine into Spirit Visage as a third item. So very much a control build. He is maxing Q second, not going for a W second, and then having no threat at all. But very much about the staying in a fight, multiple rotations of his E and W, and then just queuing a tank is kind of what he's building for.
And speaking of not feeling any threat, Papa, that's an Essence Reaver second item on Tal as well. So he's having a great time. Lots of CDR. Gonna have that Cannon Barrage available all the time. Of course, has it now.
The overcap on CDR with this build, you know, Infinity Edge and also a Zeal item will be complete at some point, but it doesn't matter. You don't need to be turning extra CDR into AD and AP. You just have so much AD from the Essence Reaver fitting into the build. You feel great about it. So, like you say, very strong point already for Tal, and decent mana sustain as he trades farm.
Yep.
Still very non-interactive in the 1v1, and 234 stacks, if you guys are wondering at home.
Yeah. Crazy doing okay. Of course, with this Spirit Fire max build, you do miss out on a few more of those stacks, given the fact that you're just burning down wave after wave.
You do push the enemy's turret first, which is pretty good feeling when you're in Nasus. You're not just stuck freezing a wave at your inner turret while the game is lost. They're trying to be proactive at BBQ, but have they already given too much of a lead to SKT item-wise? That barrel chain hits the backline, and there's no Cosmic Radiance. It's all over in kind of one rotation of spells from the Gangplank.
Now BBQ, you can see, focusing on the top side. Baron just spawned 30 seconds ago, so you can understand why. We're going to keep themselves in a position where they can get over there, because Baron damage ain't a question here for BBQ. Crazy can probably tank it forever, and Tempting Ghost do a lot of damage with a heck of a lot of secure in that Ren. Members
of BBQ, when it comes to carries, are a lot more easy to gank. Speaking of ganks.
Okay. Baker gets a cheeky little seismic shove down, but not going to actually find the target there.
Yeah, but both Azir and Kalista kind of want short lanes to deal with. Azir is being pulled topside to just defend against the Talia. Doesn't have teleport or a global. That can be something that can be exploited. They're just trying to find safe places for Temp to get to 2 to 3 items to come online on the Azir. But finding a safe place for Nasus, Kalista, and Azir, none of which are strongest in long lanes, actually pretty difficult. So, of course, Crazy will be sacrificed on the bot side when all the action is top side. That part is normal, but Tempt is starting to really slow down and build, and he desperately needs to be a big threat, because SKT are going to be diving in. You know, they have a very aggressive comp when it comes to how 5v5s play out. So they need the Azir to actually be a threat. It's probably going to be looking like a Void Staff second to try to have some threat on specifically the Braum and the front line of SKT.
Yeah, decent magic resist being picked up at least by Wolf. Otherwise, may have gone for a little bit more of an aggressive choice. But there it is, completed just there for Tempt. I've actually seen this as a second item for most Azir builds. Just likes to get into that as quickly as possible. Isn't really one of those other items that you definitely want.
The Angel's is a big favorite for the Azir, but ends up getting delayed to third item depending on how the laning phase is gone. Obviously, when you have Blasting Wand and an Amp Tome, you can build the Anjus out of it. So
it's just been a money thing, right?
It's immediate power. They're very worried that the next fight leads to a Baron and the game is over. It doesn't matter how many items an Azir has. So trying to double down on mid-game effectiveness is Nasus also still stacking. Looks like about 280. The small monitors here, but trying to make the most out of that. Still troll that all these years later, you only see the first 2 numbers of Nasus stacks.
Yep, 310 moment. So, is he going to be able to actually find anything? Cycling Strike stuff to do some damage there, as you saw. Like you were talking about, but I don't think we're going to have too much fun watching that particular lane. Blossom running around a little bit. But no real worries here, just SKT vying for vision on the top side.
And I want everyone at home to appreciate that, even though you see the Nasus, you know.
Can I appreciate it too?
You can appreciate it
Thank
too.
you.
Just this one time. The scaling is good from BBQ, but I already mentioned that making the most out of Nasus is difficult. The other thing to consider is, what did we say in Champion Select? When a fight starts, SKT can be pretty flexible. A lot of these champions have mobility. They have the Weaver's Wall to influence terrain control on the game-playing hold, whereas BBQ kind of need to hit a wombo, right? They kind of need to really line everything up. And between terrain being creative and zone control, the reliability of BBQ's comp against the sheer mobility of SKT kind of pigeonholes them into fighting around objectives like Baron and Drake. They don't have any Drake control right now. There's that really big worry that they'll either be kited or one member won't be able to layer during a fight and they won't be able to get the maximum value out of their draft. And if it ends up like KSV yesterday, where Taric Ultimate was 100% useless, you know, it was either kited away from or too early or too late, if they can't actually initiate on their own terms, which the draft from SKT should deny, it's very difficult to get max value out of Taric from behind. And when it comes to map control, BBQ are behind.
That is definitely true. You can see how far pushed up SKT are. Faker going to take care of the top lane as the bottom lane has been shoved in by Tal, who's sitting on a massive wad of cash.
Just game bank things.
Yeah.
It was nerfed, by the way, guys.
Yeah. Not anymore. It's past 15 minutes now, so Cleptomancy in full force. But yeah, Tal's already made a heck of a lot of that bank.
He's going 3-item. He's going Infinity Edge for 45% CDR. It's not a combat build, but he knows that Nasus is going to wither him off cooldown, so going for basically the barrel chain dream.
Well, it's going to be another one. Electrocute down onto Wolf, but he's just going to take basically no damage and get out of there. BF sort of done for Ghost. He's already got those first two items that are coveted so much by the Callisto.
Boom. Another stack.
Nice. How much is he on now? 370?
Looks like 370, yeah. He's starting to stack up.
Yeah, he's getting there. You just wait until it's 94 minutes into this game, Pop Smithy.
That'd be an interesting side lane. I'd like to see them run at each other at 94 minutes, see what happens. As Gank's enacted, Bang's on ganking duty.
Yeah, but Fury of the Sands has come down. Crazy. He's got a teleport coming in. And Ignar's going to turn up, just get siphoned to death. Nothing Tal can do. Withered and siphoned and dead.
Bang sees this giant Stargate SG-1 character and just gets the hell out of there. He's like, I don't know what to do against this guy.
Yep.
In the meantime, Blossom is Jax with Trinity Force, so going to start the damage onto the turret.
Oh, okay. Sand Soldiers are just going to shake hands with Blossom as he exits stage right. That's pretty easy for the Jax to get out of there. Oh god, Tal goes back and says, oh, well, I guess I'll turn this cape into a big sword. And hopefully that'll mean I don't lose this 1v1 again.
And we talk about the 1v1. Obviously, Tal's trying to bait because Bang is coming down. It's a pretty common thing that you see SKT doing. They rotate around Bang more than most teams do with their AD carry. But Bang uses the Blade of the Ruin King, doesn't do any damage. And it's like, uh-oh, runs away.
It really did nothing, did it?
Well, the teamfight phase Nasus, we're not sure about. The side lane Nasus is powering up pretty big.
Oh, yeah.
And now you're seeing why people like to draft it. You get a safe farming phase, but eventually your cooldowns get low enough that you just kind of run at the gangplank, and there's not much he can do.
Yep, Adaptive Helm is now done. Warden's Mail was just picked up as he went back home. He's very, very happy.
So
SKT in the top lane.
SKT read the situation and say, okay, lane assignments need to be rejigged. We cannot have Nasus and Gangplank in the same lane for the majority of this game. Notice that they do have the 45% CDR Dream complete on the Gangplank. He has insanely high damage to champions with this build, but because it's so greedy for the 1v1, he cannot 1v1 the Nasus. Now, there's no way for him to build items to beat Nasus in the 1v1, like Phantom Dancer and Asterix Gauge wouldn't have changed it, but this is very much teamfight Gangplank enacted by Tal. They have to create those team fights, and a pick would be a good start.
Oh, Tempt isn't going to get stunned, though, as the Counter-Strike was not activated by Blossom, so Empress Divide worked out that time, but Tempt has been heavily focused. See, it's almost always him that's getting taken advantage of.
He's also kept his turret up a really long time. This outer top lane turret's been up 8 minutes with an Azir of all people playing the side lane, and they've got this very annoying doggy in the bot lane. Push, push, push.
Yep.
How's the Q looking? Looking decent.
Yeah, not too bad. 440.
Force.
Oh, God. This is frightening, yeah. Okay, Tal going to do his best to try and stop him, but you can see Crazy's just taking 0 damage now. And with the Warmogs, he just wanders away from the minion wave that he slaughters extraordinarily quickly with his Spirit Fire, and he's back at full health when Tal has to deal with him again.
And they need more bad
barrels
guys.
as he wants.
They need more bad guys sent bot lane if they want to kill the Nasus.
Yeah.
You can see that Bang kind of realized the error in his ways, is rushing towards the Lord Dominic's regard. He's like, I need this, guys. They have 2 Warmogs users, so very high value Lord Dominix. We saw a low value one yesterday.
Yeah.
Very strange time for Lord Dominix. This is a great time for it.
believe that was Soul that we were talking about earlier on.
Very bizarre item choice, but this is the right one for certain here. If Bang does complete it, could still be tempted to go into Executioner's Calling because there is a lot of healing on the side of BBQ, but if Nasus runs at Ezreal, who already doesn't do crit damage, who doesn't have the full modifier late-game Dream of attack damage, attack speed, and crit damage, then that's going to be a real problem.
Yes. I do really like Unsealed Spellbook Nasus, though, because Nasus that doesn't have to have either Teleport Ghost or Flash Teleport, you can go that the Ghost and the Flash, which is sort of new for what we've seen from a lot of Nasus top lanes.
In most balanced games, he has to stick with the Flash, but especially if you're behind and you're like, well, I need to team fight, you go Ghost Flash and just rock up with Ghost.
Okay, well, we're getting fished. As that's going to be Bang picking off Bono, and could this just be the Baron straight away? SKT moving immediately over there. Teleports are coming in. They're going to try and lock this one down.
Weaverswell doesn't actually stop 3 of them from entering. Crazy's coming too.
Yeah,
can't see the Baron HP, it's low.
He's going to teleport forward. Crazy's going to be able to get in here. He has the flash, but the Baron so low. It is going to be taken by Blossom, but can they win the team fight? Ghost, he goes down immediately, and the picks are coming through left, right, and center. Once again, Tempt is going to be shot to death as Faker flashing walls. He's aggressive. And you can understand why BBQ running for the hills. Ignar and Crazy, nothing they can do.
Bono walking up there with the outer top lane turret down. Did not have the same safety. The minion wave was not his aid in that particular situation. Now they lose a lot. Baron buff allows SKT to push in. They were delayed from the Baron for a good 8 minutes. But the game is getting away from the side of BBQ. Bono may have respawned. It's going to be first inhibitor turret down for SKT.
Yep, they'll take it right in front of these 2 members of BBQ. Crazy says, well, I'm just going to stay top lane, guys. My team's let me down. But SKT, they're going to take as much as they possibly can. Bottom lane now going to get shoved. Might potentially even just take their 3rd Drake of the game as well. And let's just see how it all started. Bono, standing on a ward and got killed. Yeah,
you see the replay here. He thinks he has coverage, but because the turret isn't there and no one else is in the area, it's a very poor time for him to walk up and clear vision. That is the true rookie status sign of it being just 3 games of competitive experience. SKT has Smites, they're happy to start the Baron. It gets down to 260, so Smite was a little bit off there, but regardless, able to pick up the Baron. And then it's teamfight Gangplank and a teamfight comp from SKT, so they skip over in a 4v5 and have their way with BBQ. So BBQ now pretty far behind. Gold lead over 10,000. SK Telecom T1 were able to navigate a tricky game where suddenly they couldn't have Crazy and Tal in the same lane after Tal got solo killed. That problem is no longer an issue as we evolve. And what did I say about a Nasus falling behind and changing summoners? He's going Ghost Flash.
Yeah,
he realizes that the time to split push is over when the first Baron buff has been taken.
He's got his Randuin's Omen as well, so going to be able to lock down members for as long as he possibly can, trying to utilize that on multiple members. And then keep the Iceborne Gauntlet rolling for the perma-slow. But it's feeling more and more difficult here for Crazy. Not exactly a dog's life this time. True Shot Barrage doesn't find the Banshee's Veil of Tempt, but at least the Winter's Bite will. With only 1 inhibitor down, BBQ, they're not out of it just yet, but it's feeling worse and worse. We're close to a 10,000 gold lead. 3 Drakes, 2 of which being pretty high-quality ones in the Mountain and the Infernal. SKT looking brilliant with a minute left on this Baron.
Stretched pretty thin here at BBQ. Top lane, Nasus with no teleport. Wouldn't have had teleport anyway because it would have been on cooldown, but doesn't have it available. So Cannon Barrage means they can easily show up with 4.5 members, 4 members in the Cannon Barrage in bot side. Very risky for Tempt and BBQ to defend this inner turret. That's why we're going to see it just surrendered. In the top side, Crazy's trying to do his best to harass down Tal. That part will be fine, but if Crazy's not at the fight, they're going to struggle, and now Faker's here as well.
Yep, Weaver's Wall comes in. Crazy's just going to get shoved around. Siphoning Strike just not doing anything with the mortal reminder that Tal had picked up. And Faker's going to grab that one. Another Fisher comes out as Ignar throws down the ultimate immediately. Bang! He's going to get picked off to start this fight off. Takes him a while to die. And in fact, he's still alive for so long.
Meanwhile,
yeah, Blossom's just going to try and win the game. 40% CDR, that's a lot of W's to be thrown in the faces of these turrets. Takes 1, and now the backs are being stopped. Wolf, the hero plays, stopping them from moving forward. Faker, he comes down. BBQ turn up. They're looking to try and get rid of him, but Counter-Strike's doing so much work. Can Blossom actually try and find one back here as the stopwatch used by Ignar to take him down? Ghost here just defends the last remaining Nexus turret. as Ignar is running around like a headless chook. BBQ Olivers, they're everywhere. Not exactly finding anything that they wanted, but SKT, this is what we've been waiting for weeks on end.
And this passage of play should come close to ending the game. Probably won't completely, as Ghost wants to stop them from taking the third inhibitor, I should say. Still chasing, but a lot of kite back from SKT. Teleport from the Nasus.
Yep, big flanking teleport comes in as Crazy looks down. He wants to get revenge on this gangplank, but is he just going to get kited? A lot of barrels for the movement speed here from the Pirate Man, who's looking to try and get out of there. Low health bars, but SKT are looking like they'll probably be able to make it out.
Meanwhile,
okay, the Winions, they've turned up. We've got a respawn, but oh my goodness, that was close.
They're taking their eyes off the prize. Come on, Minions, what are you doing?
You were so close to winning the game.
Minion AI is very imperfect, but so lucky there that the Minion wave spawned, and also so did the Cavalry. BBQ almost left everything to be won by SKT. It'll delay the game. SKT still in complete control. 15,000 gold ahead at 34 minutes.
Yep, close to that 35-minute mark. We're going to have Baron up again in a little while, but I don't think SKT is going to care. They just have to walk forwards and auto-attack a Nexus once. Do you reckon you can do it, guys?
Well, that's eerily reminiscent of a bad game for SKT.
Oh, that's very good. That's a very good point.
That was the start of the losing streak.
At least it wasn't a Freak of Freaks' experience against KSV, which I think may have been slightly worse.
SKT have been much more measured this game. The shot calling has been better. Blossom coming in has only helped them, and Faker's playing with fire here. Doesn't actually follow the Weaver's wall, but
you'd think putting a giant stone wall through the Nexus should be doing some damage, but not happening this time. SKT still forming battle lines. Blossom taking a fair bit of damage here as Bono looks to try and go in. Sand Soldiers being set up nicely, and the Cosmic Radiance actually maybe a little bit optimistic there to throw it down. Ignar might have that one back potentially for a last fight.
Remember, the Sun turret does not count as something to prevent backdooring. You can auto-attack the Nexus in this scenario. SKT have been here before. Any sort of picks and they can probably rush in, but for now, with 5 men strong, they're being respectful.
Yeah, another True Shot Barrage. Seems to be finding tempt every single time. The minions are being dealt with for the moment by BBQ, but they're just going to wait until this Sun turret's gone.
It is Azir and Kalista. They're being respectful, SKT. They need a strong shot call. Will it be Wolf? Will it be Faker? They're the most experienced, but the game extends.
Yeah. Bang was going aggressive under Crazy, but he's going to siphon that one all the way back up. Double super creeps, though, remember.
We get the confirmation, Atlas. Will this be live, or is this a replay? We'll find out now.
Well, Blossom jumps forward, doesn't find anything with the Counter-Strike, though, and Ghost survives for a long time. Lock it to the Iron Solari from both teams. But you can see BBQ, they lose their jungler. Blossom going down very low, and Crazy, he's just getting kited, thrown around by Faker. Bang, grabs Temp for the double kill. True Shot Barrage does basically nothing, but they can just hit the Nexus now. Decent double kill comes out from Ghost, but he's punished. And that's going to be that SKT taking game number 1 against BBQ Olivers.
And their fans are in raptures, even though it's a game 1 victory, but it's not because of the best of 3. It's because of what it means for SKT. The style in which they played was very much SKT-esque this time around. They made some mistakes, specifically around lane assignment. They corrected them, got a pick on Bono, and then they had a massive gold lead with Baron. So they really did problem solve very well after so many games where their problem solving has been pretty abysmal. Atlas, you think of all their attempts to run wombo comps with the Zac and the Galio, all those sort of mid-game decisions that seemed very obvious they were going to be losing ones. This time they were trading up, and to me this was where Bono was exposed a little bit as one of these rookie status junglers, because he walked up not understanding that with the top outer lane turret down, he didn't have the same freedom to contest vision around the Baron. He was taken down, and then the game, it didn't matter how many stacks the Nasus had, it didn't matter where everything else was at. SKT won the game around the Nasus, around BBQ's comp, and do come away with a game 1 victory.
And this is a feeling like a memory of an old SK Telecom that we used to know, Papa Smithy, because they had control at the beginning. They managed to grab that first blood with an excellent gank. Great patience out from Blossom there as well, but they never relinquished their control. They always had the vision down, and this is what we've been asking them about in weeks past.
The SKT fans will celebrate a 2-0 over BBQ like they won the LCK final. They're desperate for their team to show 2 great performances in a row. We might see it today.
Yeah, we might. We are going to have a short break, ladies and gentlemen. When we get back, we'll have game number 2 between BBQ and SK Telecom T1. Don't go anywhere.